Welcome to the 2020 Crown Point Football Postseason Virtual Awards presentation. 2020 has been an emotional roller coaster, insanely challenging, yet profoundly meaningful in that all of us have had to find creative ways to deal with growing uncertainty. All members of our football program and their families have had to adjust to unprecedented adversity and expectations without really knowing how the next few minutes would play out. We sincerely thank our young people, their families, Moms Club, and Quarterback Club for their patience, flexibility, and grace as we continue to navigate this challenging time. Our seniors did a remarkable job of leading our group with courage and resilience that truly embodies success, and we're proud of them for that. While not perfect, we were able to find some semblance of normalcy by experiencing the excitement and competitive spirit that America's greatest game delivers on many of our Friday nights. Thank you to the Moms Club and the Quarterback Club, as each group has been extremely instrumental in providing the many extras that many programs do not experience. Thank you again for all the countless time and enthusiastic energy that you put into our program, but most of all, thank you for just helping us. The sequence of events will be as follows: position coach speeches about senior players, freshman and JV season recaps, Player of the Week awards, special awards, independent awards, and the 2021 team captains.
I have the honor of speaking to you today on behalf of our 4 senior managers. They are Dara Brummett, Lauren Garcia, Alyssa Vivo, and Holly Wagner. We've had the pleasure of having all 4 of these young ladies be managers for 2 years. Before I delve into the wonderful contributions of each of them, I would like to take a moment to let you know exactly what it is that our managers do for the program. The list of duties includes filming for both practice and games from 2 different angles, fixing broken shoulder pads and helmets, managing the game jerseys and pants on a weekly basis, being responsible for the headsets for practices and games, and handling any number of other curveballs that get thrown their way. As I'm sure they will tell you, Friday night sidelines can get very hectic. Our managers are often some of the first students to enter the facility and are some of the last to leave, especially on Jersey nights. First, I'd like to talk about Dara. Dara was our #1 press box camera operator. I'm of the opinion that we had the best and most consistent film from the press box in the DAC, and we have Dara to thank for that. She will always be remembered for her vibrant hair choices, which makes a lot of sense given that she plans on going to cosmetology school. Up next is Lauren. Lauren was one of our camera operators from the end zone. I'm sure that she can tell you many stories about me frantically making sure everything was properly working right up until kickoff on game nights. She was always calm and collected, and that will serve her very well as she continues her education in the medicinal field as she hopes to one day be a pediatrician. Next, we have Alyssa. Alyssa was primarily an end zone filmer / field operations manager. She would take and make sure the headsets were always at the ready and that our helmet and shoulder pad repair kits were always ready to go. Being so mechanically inclined will be a great asset to Alyssa as she plans on pursuing an architecture degree at Ball State. Chirp, chirp. Last, but certainly not least, is Holly. Holly was our catch-all manager. If something needed doing, Holly made sure it got done. Just do not ask her to film. It's not very pretty. Holly's dedication to making sure the task was not only done, but done right will be one of her strengths as she pursues a nursing career. It's worth noting that when you average out the GPAs of all of our senior managers, we are at an incredible 3.9. This goes to show you that these ladies were not only dedicated on the field, but also in the classroom. I know that I personally leaned on them a lot through assistance throughout this entire season, and I'm eternally grateful for all of the hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm that these young ladies have given to this program.
I'd like to talk to you this afternoon about the team behind the team, our 5 senior student athletic trainers, Riley McDonald, Rebecca Parks, Hannah Watson, Olivia Kamstra, and Jamie Shuttle. It can be very tough having to attend every practice and not being the ones who are playing on Friday night. Our student athletic training staff really takes care of our athletes and the staff athletic trainers and make sure that the little jobs, the jobs that would be really missed if they weren't done, like having water and medical equipment on the sidelines, get done. 2 years ago, Jamie and I quickly learned how good they were. We were mesmerized at how many times we heard the phrase, "Oh, we've got it," or "Oh, it's already done." Ladies, you've really spoiled Jamie and I over the last couple of years, and we just want to say a big thank you for not only helping Crown Point Athletics, but also for demonstrating an active interest in the health professions, and mostly for making our lives easier. Ladies, as your future takes you down life's various paths, whether it be sports medicine, dental hygiene, nursing, or wherever life leads, we hope you will always look back on your time with Crown Point Sports Medicine with the same happiness and joy that Jamie and I will have whenever we remember you.
Before I begin, a few words about playing quarterback. The quarterback position is perhaps the most complex and toughest position in sports. The quarterback is usually the leader of the offense and touches the ball on almost every offensive play. His success and failure can have a significant impact on the fortune of his team. Accordingly, the quarterback is the most celebrated and scrutinized position in team sports. Individuals that play this position have to develop a thick skin to block out the noise and the critics who believe they have all the answers, all while showing unrelenting courage in pressure-filled situations. Given this tremendous responsibility and these lofty expectations, Will decided to continue playing quarterback. During the winter and spring months and pre- and post-practice workouts, he has spent an astonishing number of hours developing a skill set for great achievement, all while maintaining a great attitude and powerful drive to get better. He was a 3-year starter for the Dogs, and throughout his high school career has competed under extraordinary adversity. His clutch throws under challenging circumstances guided us to a sectional championship his sophomore year and took us to the brink of another sectional championship his junior year. While we fell short of the same experiences his senior year, to his credit, he didn't blink, he didn't put his head down and pout, he didn't make excuses, he battled through the good times and the tough times with class like a true professional. I have no doubt that he will be in charge of something someday. Will, thank you for everything you have given to our program. The best of luck to you.
Every new football season is an exciting time for both the players and the coaching staff. While this season was no different, it also brought along quite a bit of uncertainty. In these uncertain times, I would like to thank everyone who had a hand in making sure this season ran as smoothly as possible. Special thanks to the quarterback club, the moms club, the training staff, and the team managers. This season brought its own special challenges for me and this year's receiving group. Not only did we have limited practice throughout the spring and summer, but we also had a brand new group of seniors who did not have a whole lot of offensive varsity experience between them. That did not stop these guys from coming to practice full of confidence and ready to work. Bradley Church. I met Brad when he was a sophomore. It was my first year coaching, and he was one of about 12 JV players trying out for wide receiver. Based on the situation alone, it can be pretty easy to get lost in the crowd. Church persevered and made the most out of his opportunities and eventually became a starter on JV as a sophomore. During his junior year, Church was in an unfortunate situation where all varsity receivers were returning starters. We quickly noticed that almost every young receiver either switched position groups or flat out quit. Not Brad. He was easily the best player on the field every Saturday morning and was always a difference maker. My favorite play will always be C2C, chuck it to Church. Church's hard work paid off, and he became a varsity starter this season. I hope all young players inherit your tenacity and dedication to the program. Next up, Evan Hintz. Evan joined the Dogs halfway through his junior year and started off as a defensive back. 2 weeks before our season kicked off, Evan took on the daunting task of switching over to the offensive side and wanted to play receiver. Trying to learn our playbook in such a short amount of time is no easy task. While Evan was learning the ropes, he contributed to our program in other ways. Evan is an absolute speed demon and was a huge factor on our special teams, whether he was returning kickoffs or sprinting down the field to make an open field tackle on punt. Other teams had to take notice of where Evan was lined up at. Christopher Walsh. Chris has had an interesting career for the Dogs. He bounced around from position to position, and truth be told, we were not sure what kind of player Chris would be this year after suffering a non-football related injury last season. However, Chris battled back and became a staple on our offense this year. He was an extension of the coaching staff on the field because of his knowledge of the game and our playbook. Chris was always there to make sure everyone else was lined up and ran the play correctly. Thanks for coming back on the offensive side and making my job that much easier on Friday nights. Treston Logan. Treston has been the Swiss Army knife of our program for the last 3 seasons. He's moved around from position to position and competed at a high level with the competitive intensity that every coach looks for in a player. It takes a special kind of athlete to play quarterback, running back, defensive back, wide receiver, and tight end for our program. Whether Treston was on offense or defense, he always wanted to make the big catch or guard the best player on the opposing team. Treston did whatever was asked of him because he knew it would help our team, but mainly because he loves football and loves to compete. Treston is a program guy in every sense of the word, a true competitor. Felix Meeks III. Felix, we've joked a lot over the years about putting your head on the ground permanently as a lineman. I guess we both finally got what we wanted. Throughout Felix's time as a Bulldog, he has played a few different positions. His position changes are a testament to his athletic ability, from running routes, blocking defensive linemen, to sacking opposing quarterbacks. Felix always had one goal in mind. He wanted to make the big play of the game, the biggest play of the game. Whether the Dogs needed a big play, Felix was ready to have his number called. Despite all the challenges endured as a group, these seniors showed their resilience and never shied away from adversity. Thank you for being part of our program for so many years. I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Montrell Montgomery. Every so often in a coach's career, a player comes along that you wish you had more time to coach. Montrell came to us in week 3 against Maryville as a transfer from Gavitt High School. Montrell was a starter at QB and running back for Gavitt, and really there wasn't anything he couldn't do on the football field. Unfortunately, due to the state rules, he had to wait a few weeks before he was determined eligible. Montrell was able to pick up our offense right away and immediately became a positive contributor in his Bulldog debut against LaPorte High School. In fact, his very first carry went for 8 yards, and he got a big first down on a drive where we ultimately scored a go-ahead touchdown. Montrell played the running back position the way it was supposed to be played. Earning the nickname Beast Mode, he ran the football hard, and he wasn't afraid of contact. In fact, Montrell's quote of the season was, "Why don't we hit more at practice?" I am truly grateful that Montrell came to Crown Point High School and in my position group. Montrell, you are truly a good person with a bright future. Thank you for all that you gave us during your short time in the Bulldog football program. Matthew Walters. I have known Matthew since he was a freshman. The work ethic, discipline, physical talent, and success he displayed on the track was an indicator of how good of a football player Matt Walters was going to become. Matt was the ultimate teammate. He was a selfless player and always put the team goals in front of his own. As a junior, he shared time in the backfield, but was still our primary running back. Matt was willing and able to do anything we asked to help our team win. He wanted to do all the special teams and even offered to play defense if the team needed it. Moreover, Matthew prided himself in being a mentor and leader for our younger running backs. I am sure I speak for Jason, Eli, Bodie, Xavier, and Ernest when I say thank you for being a great teammate. Matt had the heart of a competitor, and I will always be grateful to him for that. Matt's breakout game was his junior year against Lake Central when he broke a 99-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter to clinch a big victory for our team. After that game, Matthew really never looked back, and he led by example to become our #1 running back and team captain his senior season. Matthew's senior season was a highlight reel of big plays. The Highland game alone would give us enough highlights, but he was instrumental in our wins against Lake Central and Portage. Matt, in my opinion, was one of the best running backs in the DAC. He might not be able to run you over, but he could cut, find a lane, and outrun any of the defenses we played. Matt, I want to say thank you for everything that you have done in the Crown Point uniform. You will be a constant example of players who follow your path in this program. I know you have a great heart and have a very bright future. Good luck in college and beyond.
2020 has been a completely unpredictable year. Summer football workouts were put on hold, and then they had to be changed to meet new guidelines. As the football season started, no one was really sure how many games we would even be able to play. During the school year, we shifted our instruction status from yellow to green to red. We even lost some games to the current pandemic. It seemed like things changed at a moment's notice. As uncertain as things were, there were always a few things that we could always count on, and that was the effort, leadership, and heart shown by Alex O'Toole. Alex was a 2-year starter for the Bulldogs at guard, and although he was not elected a captain of the team, he was the undisputed leader of our position group this past season. Alex always led by example. He was the first one in line for a drill. He was always willing to be used to demonstrate a technique to the group, and without a doubt, Alex went 100% all the time, especially during our competition sets. He was a vocal leader of the offensive linemen. After our post-practice meetings, Alex was always given the opportunity to address the group, and he never disappointed. He gave encouragement, insight, and constructive criticism to his teammates, and they listened to everything he had to say. He was able to do this because he was the consummate pro. He was extremely coachable and took others' words of encouragement and criticism to heart. I'll miss seeing Alex pull on our whip and whipper plays, leading Matthew Walters to the end zone. I will miss seeing him battle big defensive linemen like Maryville and Highland and Laporte presented. Our position group will also miss the constant leadership and desire to compete with others he displayed on a daily basis. I'm not sure what Alex's future plans are, but based on what I have seen from him throughout his time in high school, I am confident he will be very successful. Thank you, Alex.
I would like to start out by thanking all of our parents. As a former player, I remember the huge impact that my parents had on me throughout my high school playing years. The love and support that you show throughout the long season is more impactful than you may know, so thank you so much. The first player I would like to talk about is Mason Ali. Mason is a player that coaches love to have. He would show up and be ready every practice. He put forth his best effort every play that he was in. When the play was over, he would always ask questions. One of my favorite questions that he had asked me was how I can get better. I love this question because it showed me that he wanted to do anything possible to get better. As the season went on, he did better, and it showed. Thank you, Mason, for being a great teammate and a great student of the game. Next is Nick Sobchak. Nick was a great player to have in my position group. He would be the one to quickly crack a joke. He would be the one to tell me about the breakdown of film he did the night previous. He was also the guy that went hard in every drill. Nick was and still is very passionate about football, and that was another positive to Nick's personality. Nick was always the guy before practice and games dancing in the locker room, making sure everyone was loose and not stressing about the next couple of hours when they stepped onto the football field. Nick, it was a pleasure to coach you. Thank you, and good luck with wherever the next chapter takes you. Next is Dave Lira. Dave was new to our position group this year with previous experience from his sophomore year. With the summer being cut short, Dave had a slight disadvantage to all the other players. What I loved about Dave was his work ethic. He worked his tail off when we had practices to learn our defense. Once he learned it, he took off. Dave was a coach's dream in the fact that he was very coachable. Anything you told him and critiqued about him, he fixed with his play. He was a hard-nosed safety and played with 100% on every down. Thank you, Dave, for being so coachable, and congrats on an awesome senior season. Finally, I would like to talk about Tanner Heckel. Tanner was also new to our position group this season, but he picked up our defense and team chemistry very quick. Tanner was never the player to be satisfied with his play. He would always want to get better and learn the new things. He was thrown into games in many different scenarios. When we needed a boost for our team, Tanner would go out on special teams and get us great field position. Tanner was an all-around athlete and was a factor to have him returning all kicks for us. Tanner was also one of those guys that kept everyone loose with his jokes and weird conversations. Thank you, Tanner, for giving it all this season. Congrats on a great year. All of my defensive backs were a huge part of our defense and our team. No matter the circumstances, all 8 of them would do anything to help our team win. They are true Bulldogs, and I am honored to have coached them for their senior seasons. Thank guys.
All right, here we go. Special teams ready, punt team ready, and punt return team hot. Now I know I've gotten several of the players' attention, and I know Brandon Bruce, Zach Galosi, Jaden Moore, and Cole Staley are listening because much like game nights, these 4 players were always front and center when their special team was called. I never had to search for them. They were in the game from the very first whistle. They all knew their assignments and performed with maximum effort on every kick. They all contributed on special teams, but their official game day roster position was listed as defensive back. That position group is where they spent the bulk of their time during practice. Each of these athletes' work effort played a significant role in becoming a better football player and making our football team better. Brandon Bruce, a 4-year program player, a Friday night cornerback, quick, coachable, excellent tackler, and would sometimes go up against what may seem to be an outmatched opponent, but would continually make big plays, would take on all enemies, big and small, whether it be setting the edge on the turn, on a run, or breaking up pass plays. I know of one pass play he would like to take another shot at, that crazy deflection at Laporte. Brandon was a complete team player, always doing what was asked of him and always played with total full effort. Zach Galosi, another 4-year player, at least 3 with the Dogs, an unselfish contributor on several special teams. His enthusiasm and drive to continually better himself was contagious. Zach was not afraid to ask questions concerning coverages and would often help the younger DBs with his knowledge. Zach was extremely coachable, committed, a hard worker, and a pleasure to be around. Zach's work effort set him an example to the teammates and the coaches. Jaden Moore, one more 4-year program player. Jaden was very coachable, an unselfish, quiet team player who led by example. His commitment to the team with his work ethic and his ability to adjust to whatever role needed speaks loudly as to what type of role model he was to the younger players. When Jaden came to the early season workouts, I thought he might be going to concentrate on basketball and give up on football because he grew what seemed to be about 8 inches between his junior and senior years. Jaden was always there and would always do whatever was asked of him. Cole Staley, once again a 4-year player. Cole has a huge heart, not only in life but being a Bulldog. He strived to become better every day. His unselfish attitude, his coachability, and most importantly, his respect for the coaches and his teammates are traits that did not go unnoticed. His sprint down the field on kickoff team will always be remembered. Cole wholeheartedly was a pleasure for me to be around before, during, and after practice. These 4 players played were in the same position group, and they were unique in their own way. The one thing that they all shared besides the position group are the traits that will take them a lot farther in each of their lives. Traits such as respect, unselfishness, commitment, attitude, and most importantly, kindness. I'm confident that success is in their futures, no matter what part of their lives their paths will take. I'd personally like to thank each of you for letting me be a small part of a fabulous future that lies ahead for you. Once again, number 2, Brandon Bruce, number 17, Zach Galosi, number 27, Jaden Moore, and number 15, Cole Staley.
2020 definitely offered its own unique set of challenges for not only Crown Point football, but I'm sure all football coaches and players across the United States. It also offered a unique set of challenges for the defensive line group here at Crown Point. My second year, usually you have a little bit of a sense of familiarity with your senior class. That wasn't so much the case this season. We had 1 returner who was a senior out of the group of 4, 2 who switched positions, and then 1 who transferred in after the season had already started. While it was a unique group, a diverse group, and a fun group, and I would say it was the all-hair team with Millie's mullet and Big Red Adrian Barrera, we also had our fun, we saw our challenges, but we meshed well as a team. I think everybody kind of played their own roles and led in ways that were necessary. Danimal, he was a fun one. He came in, he was always the light to the party. He got in and got to play some short yardage situations, and he was the Hall of Famer's son, so it was a blast to have him around. Zach Millie, coming over from the offensive line, he had the mullet going on, and he was a good senior leader. He wasn't loud, he didn't try to lead vocally, but he came to practice every day. He worked his tail off, and he did things right. And when you look at younger guys and want to have a role model in a senior, that's what you want to see. So Millie came, and without a lot of experience, he played defensive line throughout, maybe a little bit in middle school, maybe as a freshman, but coming over from being a starting offensive lineman as a sophomore, being a rotational guy as a junior, and then coming over and playing defensive line as a senior, he did things the right way, and that helped a ton. Another position change was Eli Wortman. He came down from the linebacker position group. A guy that we kind of got thrown into it at camp. He didn't get the full off season to work with us because of COVID and because of the challenges that were presented to us. But another guy, he started to lead vocally towards the end of the season, but he worked his butt off. If there's anything I asked him to do in practice, he was going to do it. He believed in Crown Point football. He was the embodiment of what a Bulldog was, in my opinion, and he did anything and everything to make the program better and the position group better each day. And finally, the guy who came back, the guy who I got to coach last year, Adrian Barrera. Everybody kind of had their questions about work ethic with him throughout his career and throughout the 2 years I had with him. But he showed me something this year, and that was super exciting for me. He came and he did work his butt off. He did try to improve, and all while living pretty serious life and having to deal with some things on the personal side. And he was able to work through that and still be a very positive contributor to this Crown Point football program. These guys, I couldn't thank them enough for making my second and my final year here at Crown Point very memorable, very fun group of kids, and as always, go Dogs.
Before I talk about my seniors, I'd like to say a few thank yous. First, my wife and family for being understanding and supportive of me coaching. Trainer Dan, trainer Piers, and their staff. Dr. Mullally and Dr. Plank for always making themselves available. Coach Garrett for all of his weight room work and motivational speeches. That's where it all starts for us. Coach Enright and all the coaches on staff, especially the defensive guys that I work closely with. Thanks for all your time, hard work, and time spent away from your families. Also, a thank you to the freshman coaches, Coach Bruno, Goodman, Kroll, Mulaski, Gomez, Clark, and Grady. Great coaches who do an awesome job. I'd also like to thank and mention some special coaches who have helped on our defense this year. Nick Jones, Josh Gragan, Nick Chikina. Finally, to everyone who tried to make this as normal of a season as possible for these seniors, especially Denise Sobchak with the Moms Club, Wheeler Stanley with the Quarterback Club, Bill Darilla and Dr. Terrell with CPHS Administration. You made every effort to give these boys the senior season they deserve, and you tried to do it as safe as possible and as creative as you could. As a coach and as a parent, I can't thank you enough. The first senior player I'd like to speak about is Jacob Lopez. Jake, I can't say enough about the consistency of play and the effort and level of play that you brought to our program. Watching Jake play over the years at Junior Bulldogs, I knew his aggressiveness would find him a home on our defensive side of the ball. As a 2-year starter, he was a prototypical outside backer for us. Great at rushing the passer, defending the edge in the run game, and possessing the speed and athleticism to play man coverage. Jake was a tireless worker in the offseason, getting stronger each year, attending camps and skill workouts to better his craft. One of the phrases I always say to the seniors on defense is that you don't have to have the title of captain to be a leader, and Jake was exactly that. Always encouraging the younger players in our LB group, stepping up as a leader in drills and team sessions. Also, one of the biggest compliments I can give as a coach is that I never had to go over anything twice with Jake. He was extremely coachable. Okay, one last thing for you, Jake. I would occasionally hear about pictures floating around of me in the LB text group working out at the Y. You know I know who that leak is. Paybacks, buddy. Thanks, Jake. Next is Connor Keogh. Every team and every coach needs to have a Connor Keogh on their team. Why? Because Connor is the ultimate team player. Never a me-first person, but always a player that showed up asking, what can I do for the team? In his 4 years in our program, I really can't tell you anything he missed. From team camps to off-season workouts, he enjoyed being in the LB group and being a Bulldog. Every year, I think we talked about moving him to DB spot, but I've always wanted to keep him in our LB group because of the fit with his teammates, the positive attitude he played with, and just his overall personality. So this year, when Chesterton came around, they liked to do a quick punt set. Well, we decided to keep our defense on the field. Well, that meant keeping Connor off. Honestly, he was the first person that came to mind when we made that switch. The next day when we reviewed that new punt team, one of the assistant coaches stopped me and said, hey, coach. And before he could finish his thought, I said, I know. We have to find a way to get Connor back on the field. He said, yep, that's what I was going to say. That is just a small example of what senior Connor Keogh meant to our team and our coaches. Connor, thank you for all your effort and hard work. Next is Riley Granger. So this is the first, huh? Having a parent talk about a player. But this is an easy speech to write because I've given it before. Maybe it was Connor Andrus or maybe it was Don Shuck. But it's about leadership, doing things the right way, and a player's love for the game. Riley loved everything about Crown Point football, from middle school program, Bishop Dullahan camp, and even to organizing defensive workouts over the summer. His enthusiasm in games and practice was always welcome, contagious, and fun to watch. I think everybody saw his passion for the game when he played. But things weren't always easy having your dad as a coach. Whether it was an argument over being concussed during a game or over reading keys, I'm not sure he always got a pass from me. At one point last year, 2 captains had to pull me aside to let me know I'm being too hard on him. Either way, that never stopped him from reaching his goals. As a 2-year starter, he was great to coach. Led the team in tackles both years, never had to ask for effort, always encouraging other teammates, would do anything the coaches asked of him, and most importantly, he was always around the ball. I think his best games came in big spots, namely last year's sectional championship game against Maryville and this year's leather helmet game. Having double-digit tackles in both and having a huge third down stop in the championship game to get us back the ball. As a coach for 20 years, I get asked a lot about my all-time team or the best guys to play each position. Well, we've had a lot of great ones come through the program, so that's really tough to do. But I can tell you who my favorite is, and that's an easy answer. Thank you, Riley.
Aurelio Fernandez was new to the program this year. Boy, what a year to come out. However, right from the beginning, Boomer was eager to learn and grow, both as an individual and as a teammate. His dedication to the team was shown through his great attendance and positive attitude. This kind of attitude helped him grow and develop. He fit in perfectly from day one, and as the weeks and practices went on, you could hardly tell he was new to the team. Taking part in normal linebacker traditions of hitting the one man and possibly learning something from Torres' time. Aurelio was a great student athlete to coach, and I wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors. Shane Schmidt. If you would have asked me where I saw Shane fitting into our program last year, I would have told you that he would be a backup or he was going to fit into our defensive line to help fill the void our previous seniors left. However, I can happily say that as the season loomed closer, we came to notice the critical playmaker Shane would emerge to be. He took the off-season, as we expect all our athletes to do, and came back much better than before. Shane has been everything we needed him to be, and then some, especially being the emergency kicker at one point in his career. Although he was not a captain, that did not stop him from being a leader on the field or during drills. Shane has shown what it means to be a Bulldog through and through. Last but not least, we have Kevin Powers. Now, Kevin has been the player for us where we scratched our heads at some of the plays he had, especially on kickoff, but also loved to see how he progressed and improved through his time as a Bulldog. He always wanted to be the best he could for the team, whether it was playing either inside or outside linebacker. His positive attitude and determination helped him become the player we know him as. The best part about his attitude was that if he messed up, he knew right away and responded with his signature, "I know, coach, I know." After that, he was right back out there to correct his mistakes and leave it all on the field. Whatever Kevin's next step in life will be, I know he will be giving it all and let nothing stand in his way.
Here we go, come with me. There's a world out there that we should see. Take my hand, close your eyes. With you right here, I'm a rocket till let's fly. Fly. Up, here we go, go. Up, here we go. Let's fly, yeah, fly. Up, here we go. Where we stop, nobody knows, yeah. No. Where we going, we don't need roads. And where we stop, nobody knows. No. To the stars if you really want it. Got a jet pack with your name on it. Above the clouds in the atmosphere. To say the words and we out of here. Hold my hand if you're feeling scared. We're flying up, out of here. Here we go. Come with me. There's a world out there that we should see. Take my hand, close your eyes. With you right here, I'm a rocket till let's fly. Up, here we go. Up, here we go. Let's fly. Yeah, fly. Yeah. Up, here we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. No, baby, we can stay fly like a G6. Shop the streets of Tokyo, get you fly kicks. Girl, you always on my mind. Got my head up in the sky and I'm never looking down, feeling priceless. Yeah, where we at, only few have known. Want some next level Super Mario. I hope this works out, cardio. Till then, let's fly, Geronimo. Here we go, come with me. There's a world out there that we should see. Take my hand, close your eyes. When you're right here, I'm a rocket till
Yeah. Now I ain't never been to space before, but
but I ain't never seen a face like yours. You make me feel like I could touch the planets. You want the moon, girl, watch me grab it. See, I ain't never seen a star this close. You got me stuck by the way you glow. I'm like, oh, 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 oh. I'm like, oh, 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 oh. Here we go. Yeah. Come with me. There's a world out there that we should see. Take my hand. Close your eyes. With you right here, I'm a rocket till let's fly. Up, up, here we go, go. Up, up, here we go, go. Let's fly. Yeah, fly, fly. Up, up, here we go, go. Where we stop, nobody knows, no.
First, I would like to say thank you. Thank you to all of our fans, parents, friends, families for coming and supporting the team each and every week. Thanks to Coach Enright and the varsity staff for everything they did for myself and for the freshman team this season. Thanks to the JV players that helped out with our home games, our training staff, including the student trainers, and all the football student managers. Thanks to the Mom Club and the Quarterback Club for everything they do for the football program. Lastly, I would like to give a big thanks to my coaching staff, Mark Kroll, Ron Goodman, Mike Mulaski, Joe Clark, Tyler Gomez, and Troy Grady. I couldn't ask for a better group of coaches. Now, a recap of our season. The freshman team had a very successful season this year as they finished with a winning record of 6-3. We started the year with a 14-12 win against Lowell. Then, we won against Highland 28-14. We went to Maryville and won 34-0. Our first loss came against Lake Central, 12-6. We recovered with a 28-8 win against Portage. Followed that up with a loss 27-7 against Valpo. Then we won 14-0 against LaPorte. Continued that winning streak, 28-18 over Chesterton, but finished the season with a tough loss, 20-6 over against Michigan City. This was a great team to work with and a fun season. It is a challenge when two middle schools come together and play as one team. They wasted no time forming a bond as one team and working together to get better each and every day at practice. This group of freshmen are as competitive as they come. No matter what adversity they faced in a game, they never gave up. During their losses, they made adjustments the coaches asked of them and gave us their all until the final whistle. This group has a lot of talent and a very bright future the next 3 years. Just believe in yourself, your teammates, and continue growing together as a team. Good luck, and thanks for a great season.
I had the privilege of coaching our JV team this year, and I'm pleased to share a recap of a season that was the definition of turning things around. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the rest of the coaching staff who were with us every Saturday morning. A big thank you to our offensive coaches, Coach Eric Arcella and Coach Brock Daniels, and our defensive coaches, Coach Daniel Altman, Coach Tom Gobranson, Coach Casey Rowe, and Coach Matt Torres. This group of coaches makes Saturday mornings fun and is dedicated to helping develop our younger players as both athletes and young men. This was certainly a challenging year on many different levels. We had to approach workouts and practices on a day-by-day basis, and we're never quite sure of what tomorrow would bring. Through all the uncertainties, one thing was clear. There was no quit in this young team. The JV season started off with a very close game against Lowell in which we fell just short of a victory. Our next game was another nail-biter against Maryville that ended up being an unfortunate loss. I'm sure many of us remember the pounding rain and cold at Lake Central, another game that did not go the way of the Dogs. This would be the last time the Dogs would be defeated on a Saturday for the rest of the season. After that, the Bulldogs ran their way to 4 straight victories and a winning season. Portage, LaPorte, Chesterton, and Michigan City all fell to a relentless running attack. The season did not start the way we had intended it to, but it is hard to finish much better. The future of Bulldog football is very bright. Thank you, and go Dogs.
It's my pleasure to announce the Players of the Week for Lowell. Offensive Player of the Week, Nicholas Cicero. Defensive Player, Nico Page. Special Teams, Tanner Heckel. The Big Hit, Shane Schmidt. Scout Player of the Week, Eli Taiwan. And Freshman of the Week, Camden Sorsey.
Highland Players of the Week. Offensive player, Matthew Walters. Defensive player, Shane Schmidt. Special teams, Trent Hirsch. Big hit, Logan Pokropinski. Scout player, Brendan Ballou. Freshman, Brian Durant.
Player of the Week, Week 3, Maryville. Offensive Player of the Week, J.J. Johnson. Defensive Player of the Week, Davian Lira. Special teams, Jake Wagner. Big hit, Nicola Peich. Scout Player of the Week, Jonathan Zimmerman. Freshman Player of the Week, Johnny Sorensen.
The Week 4 Lake Central game players of the week are offensive player Alex O'Toole, defensive player Riley Granger, special teams Sammy Brewer, big hit Davian Lira, scout player Cody Fischel, and freshman Landon Delich.
Players of the Week, Portage. Offensive player, Will Pettit. Defensive player, Riley Granger. Special teams, Tanner Heckel. Big hit, Alex O'Toole. Scout player, David Miller. Freshman, Paul Clark.
I'd like to announce the players of the week for the week of LaPorte. The offensive player, Jack Darlington. The defensive player, Kevin Powers. Special teams, Dominic Sokchek. The big hit, Felix Meeks. Scout player, AJ Erdelak. And freshman, Seamus Mulaski.
Now I'd like to introduce the Maryville Sectional Players of the Week. Offensive player, Logan Pokropinski. Defensive player, Jake Lopez and Kevin Powers. Special teams, Montrell Montgomery. Big hit, Kevin Powers and Liam Begley. Scout player, Bodie Durant.
Our Most Valuable Player Award is determined by a player-coach vote at the end of the season and is symbolized by a unique trophy that was donated by the Crown Point Civic Club in 1958. Philosophically, I have mixed emotions about awarding an MVP, as football is arguably the greatest team sport and it goes against everything we talk about with our young people, such as never use the pronouns I, me, or my, but instead use us, we, and our. Accept your role, do your job, play for your teammates, school, and community. Furthermore, in selecting an MVP, we ask ourselves, what does MVP mean? How is this person defined? Is it the team's statistical leader on offense or defense? Is it the player who could be counted on to make a play when the group needed it? Is it the player who, regardless of role, models the inherent definition of team player? By never missing a football-related event and is always on time, encourages the younger players in our program in a positive way through times of adversity and times of success. Is it a player who wins a popularity contest or a player who conducts himself on and off the field with class like a pro? Up to this point in his high school career, our MVP has been a multi-year starter and a standout performer as a Bulldog. He has willingly accepted roles on defense and special teams and truly played the game of football with an unparalleled intensity, determination, and competitive passion that would make every old school football legend proud. 2020 Most Valuable Player, Riley Granger.
It is my pleasure to introduce this year's Most Improved Player Award. This is awarded to the player that has shown the most improvement throughout the course of the year and/or career. This year, the coaching staff felt the player defined the selflessness that all of us truly admire and show the perseverance of a true competitor. In the end, he found himself as a starter with a vital role in the success of our defensive group. It gives me tremendous pleasure to award this year's 2020 Most Improved Player Award to Shane Schmidt.
The Scout Team Player of the Year is awarded annually to an underclassman that shows tremendous dedication and commitment to our team no matter how their role is defined. To be considered for this award, the player must exemplify the characteristics of a great teammate, such as giving great effort, selflessness, and the willingness to take on any role for the good of the team. This year's Scout Team Player of the Year played primarily on the JV team. In practice, we never had to persuade this player to participate or give great effort. In JV games, he displayed the mental and physical toughness and competitive drive to excel. In the future, we are looking for big things out of our 2020 Scout Team Player of the Year, Eli Taiwan.
It's my pleasure to announce this year's Hockney Award winner for highest GPA on the team. This year's recipient is Riley Granger.
I would like to announce the 2020 Keller Award Humanitarian Traits. The Keller Award is named after longtime teacher, administrator, guidance counselor, coach, trainer, as well as a number of other roles Russ Keller embraced at different times of his life. In Mr. Keller's memory, the Crown Point football program has established an award for the senior player that has gone out of his way to treat others with respect and dignity while exhibiting an unparalleled love of the game. This year's player has gone out of their way to be a positive role model and project an inspiring image to the rest of the community. The 2020 Keller Award winner is Connor Keogh.
The Blue Award, Positive Attitude and Mental Toughness. This award is named after longtime Crown Point assistant football and wrestling coach Bud Ballou. The Crown Point football program established this award at a time when Coach Ballou was battling cancer. His positive attitude and mental toughness during that time were an inspiration to everyone. This award is presented to the senior player that has, above all, put the team ahead of himself. This year, 2020 Ballou Award winners are Alex O'Toole and Kevin Powers.
The Marty Shabazz Award. This award is named after longtime sports writer and Crown Point fan Marty Shabazz. Marty loved football and he loved the Bulldogs. In his memory, the Shabazz family has created a scholarship fund in which a senior football player will be honored with a $1,000 scholarship to continue his education. In selecting this award along with the Shabazz family, we try to select a player that above all, Marty would approve of. 2020 Shabazz Scholarship Award winner, William Pettit.
It's my pleasure to announce the Raymond Hayes Award for Servant Leadership. This award is named after longtime quarterback club president Raymond Hayes. Ray served the football program for over 25 years in a servant leadership capacity. His unwavering work ethic and commitment to fundraising for program enhancements and player recognition impacted thousands of student athletes during this time period. This award is presented to the senior player that exhibits the same servant leadership characteristics as Ray. This player has gone out of his way to promote the Crown Point football program in a positive way. This includes serving as a role model for young players and representing the program in a positive way, both at school and in the community. This year's Raymond Hayes Award winner is Matthew Walters.
Our 2020 Hitman of the Year Award. One of the things we constantly stress with our group is the need to be physical, regardless of the position you play. Our weekly Dog Bone Helmet Awards are probably the most coveted items of recognition that we give our players. Associated with our weekly Dog Bone Awards and Hitman of the Week Award is our Hitman of the Year Award. Once a player is awarded the Hit of the Week, he then becomes eligible for Hitman of the Year. This year's winner made several game-changing hits, and every week was in the conversation for the Hit of the Week. Our 2020 Hitman of the Year is Felix Meeks.
I'm happy to announce this year's all-conference selections: Riley Granger, Will Pettit, Matthew Walters, and Nico Peich. I'm pleased to announce this year's academic all-conference members. In order to be elected to this team, one must carry a 3.7 GPA or higher and play in 70% of the team's games. This year, representing the Bulldogs will be Riley Granger, Will Pettit, Matthew Walters, Connor Keogh, and Kyle Milley.
The Indiana Football Coaches Association Academic All-State Team. You need to have a 3.4 GPA and play in over 70% of the varsity games. Our award winners are Will Pettit, Riley Granger, and Matthew Walters.
At this time, I would like to introduce our new 2021 captains as elected by their teammates and coaches. Traditionally, we vote for and elect 4 captains. To our new captains, I would like to pass the torch with the goal of leaving the program better than you found it. I'm happy and proud to award the role of captain to the following players: Jack Darlington, Liam Bagley, Nick Peich, Dominic Sopchak. Thanks to all of you for your continued support of our football program. Go Dogs!
Great or small, dear Crown Point, I will win over all.